Welcome back to the deep dive. We take your source material, articles, research, technical specs, and we just cut straight to what you need to know. We're here to give you that ultimate shortcut to being well-informed. Today, we are diving into something that honestly sounds like it's straight out of science fiction.
It really does.
It's a piece of infrastructure from, well, high-end military R&D, and it's called the Pyramid Core.
And when you first hear that name, you might think of, ancient history or maybe some small conceptual art project.
Right.
But the sources we have define this as the future of autonomous energy infrastructure.
Yeah.
It's really this convergence of massive energy generation, military-grade stealth, and full autonomy.
Okay, so let's unpack that. Our mission today is to really get a handle on this asset. We're talking about a gigawatt-scale power plant that is, and this is the paradox, designed to be almost invisible.
Low observable, yeah.
We need to figure out how they achieve that and what capabilities a self-contained stealth power source actually unlocks, especially in, contested or denied areas. This is all about power projection, but without the footprint.
It completely changes the logistics equation.
Uh-huh.
And that really starts with the scale.
Absolutely. Let's start there with the numbers, because they are just staggering. The source material specifies a 1.2 GW, that's gigawatt solar generation capacity.
Which is huge.
To put that into perspective for you, that's enough to power a major city. Think San Francisco. That is a serious amount of power in a single deployable asset.
And that scale is what dictates the complexity of the whole thing. This isn't just, a field of solar panels hooked up with some batteries.
No.
The system is vertically integrated. So you have the solar, the energy storage, and all the necessary compute power. It's all housed in one self-contained, hardened structure.
So it's a power plant, a data center, and kind of a forward operating base all in one.
Exactly. And the defining feature, beyond its size, is that it's designed for global deployment. It's completely self-sufficient.
Which is the dream, right? I mean, usually when you set up a forward base, you immediately have this long, expensive, and really vulnerable logistical tail.
Right. But the Pyramid Core is designed for indefinite, off-grid, autonomous operation. It just runs. No human resupply.
How? I mean, perpetually.
Well, that autonomy comes from two key things. It generates its own power from sunlight, obviously, but it also extracts its own water directly from the air.
Atmospheric water generates.
Exactly. So it has everything it needs to just keep running on its own.
So we've got this colossal, self-sustaining power source, no supply lines for fuel or even water. I'm still trying to wrap my head around that, but let's move to the headline feature.
The stealth.
The stealth. This is where it gets really interesting. How do you make a 1.2 gigawatt power plant invisible?
Sounds like a complete contradiction, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Massive power, total invisibility.
It does.
The source material focuses on defeating modern aerial reconnaissance. Drones, satellites, that sort of thing.
Whoa.
So neutralizing both visual and electronic signatures from above is the goal.
And they talk about its unique geometry. From the sky, it's designed to look completely flat.
A terrain-integrated structure. It doesn't create a 3D profile, so it just blends into the ground.
And that geometry works with some very specific technical metrics. I'm seeing here a radar cross-section, or RCS, of less than zero 0.1 square meters from above.
Which is revolutionary.
Wait, less than 0.1 square meters? Ground that for me. What's that the size of? A large bird?
Maybe a large briefcase. Or a very small, very advanced drone. For a massive piece of stationary infrastructure, that number is almost unbelievable.
So how is that even possible?
It's a combination of advanced materials and just really clever geometry. It's designed to scatter radar energy away, not reflect it back. You're basically turning a fixed asset into a passive radar deflector.
Okay, so that covers radar. But what about heat? If you're generating that much power and housing, what is it, 500 exaflop of computing?
Yeah, a massive amount.
It should be glowing like a Christmas tree to thermal sensors.
That's the biggest engineering challenge, and the sources deal with it directly. It achieves an ambient matched IR signature.
So it matches the temperature of the ground around it?
Precisely. You can't look at it with thermal sensors and see a giant hot spot. It implies a really sophisticated heat management system. Passive cooling, probably some kind of deep ground thermal exchange, all masked by special surface coatings.
So it's not just deflecting signals, it's actively hiding its own physical processes. The sources also mention it's MILA STD 461G compliant for EM shielding. Why is that standard so important?
That's crucial. It governs electromagnetic interference. So it means two things. First, the system is hardened against external EM attacks.
Right.
But second, and this is key for stealth, The system itself generates almost no detectable electromagnetic noise, no leaks, no signals for an adversary to home in on.
It's just fascinating. We think of stealth for things that move fighters, subs. This turns a patch of dirt into a fully functioning, powerful base that's basically invisible to current ISR.
Exactly. It's weaponizing geology almost,
Hmm.
turning the ground itself into an asset without the vulnerability of a normal building.
All right, let's pivot from stealth to what it can actually do. Because it's not just a big hidden battery. It has two core capabilities that seem to unlock entirely new ways of operating. Let's start with the drones.
The autonomous drone management system.
Yes. They call it from the apex. The top of the structure is an autonomous UAV charging and deployment station, an invisible, self-running airbase for tactical drones.
The ability to manage 50 UAVs at once is a big deal, but the real game changer is the charge time, less than 15 minutes.
Wow.
That means incredibly rapid turnarounds. And since it runs 247, 365 autonomously, you remove the biggest bottleneck for tactical air operations.
And they emphasize the critical benefit here is a 10-fold extension of operational range, a 10x multiplier.
Right, because drones don't have to waste energy flying all the way back to a manned vulnerable base. They can just dock at this invisible hub right in the field, refuel, and get back out there. Their effective patrol radius just explodes.
That feels like it changes the whole dynamic of air superiority. You go from intermittent patrols to just persistent continuous coverage over a huge area.
And you do it without putting any people at risk for refueling duties.
That's capability A. Now, capability B is maybe the most mind-bending part of this whole thing, the idea of global transport,
Exporting energy as data?
exporting power as data. How does that even work conceptually? Are we just talking about powering a data center?
It's a deeper conversion than that. It's designed to take that raw 1,200 milliOV of energy and dedicate it immediately to processing power.
Okay.
So you're converting raw energy into a massive amount of compute capacity, which can then be sent wherever it's needed through secure fiber optic lines.
And the scale is 1,200 milliW converts to 500 exaflop of compute capacity.
500 exaflop, yes.
We throw these huge computing terms around, but let's put that in context. An exaflop is a quintillion calculations per second. If you have 500 of those, what are you even doing with that much power in the field?
It's the engine for real-time predictive AI, for battlefield modeling. It can instantly process and correlate fragmented sensor data from thousands of sources across different domains: air, sea, land, space.
So this isn't just a power source anymore.
Not at all. It's a hardened, next-generation information warfare and command node. It's where the thinking happens.
It's the ultimate convergence, the power, the data center, the stealth, and the delivery mechanism for both. It's all one thing.
Right.
Okay, so now that we've established what this thing is, this 1.2 GW terrain-integrated stealth energy and computing hub that autonomously manages 50 drones, we have to connect this to the real world. So what does this all mean for defense and security?
We can walk through the 6 main defense applications the sources lay out. Each one solves a really critical, long-standing problem.
Okay, let's start with the most basic one, forward operating base power.
The reliance on fuel convoys for generators is a huge tactical weakness, an Achilles heel. These convoys risk lives, they cost millions. Deploying a pyramid core just eliminates that entire vulnerable supply chain. You get what they call expeditionary energy independence. It saves money, but more importantly, it saves lives.
Right. The second one, we've touched on this, persistent drone operations. Battery life is always the enemy.
Absolutely. Every time a drone has to fly back, you have a gap in coverage, and you're exposing personnel at the refueling station. This system gives you unlimited ISR intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance and strike capability. You get a continuous automated presence.
Third is communications resilience. Comms are always the first thing to get attacked in a conflict.
Because if you lose comms, you lose command. This thing acts as a hardened communications hub. It's protected by that mil-STD shielding and its stealth profile. It becomes a survivable C4ISR node.
C4ISR, just to be clear for everyone, command, control, communications, computers, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance.
Exactly. All the critical functions for command are housed and protected inside this invisible fortress. That resilience is absolutely non-negotiable.
Okay, fourth, denied area operations, operating in highly contested territory.
If you build anything traditional in a contested area, you've just painted a giant target on your back.
Right.
The pyramid core allows for power projection without a footprint. You can set up these hubs deep inside enemy territory without giving away the location of the asset, or, more importantly, the troops it's supporting.
The fifth application is a bit broader, more defensive, critical infrastructure protection.
Yeah, this points to its dual use capability. It's military grade, but that resilience is a massive asset against grid attacks. It can provide hardened, resilient power for things like hospitals, data centers, command posts, things that are really vulnerable to attacks on the civilian grid.
It builds in redundancy. And finally, number six, back to the computing power, integrated sensor fusion.
Sensor data is fragmented. We have sensors on satellites, drones, vehicles everywhere. But making sense of all that data quickly enough to act on it is the real challenge. The core's computing power closes those gaps. It enables true multi-domain awareness by correlating all that data in milliseconds right at the forward edge. Commanders see the whole picture in real time, not after the fact.
That is just an astonishing list of problems solved by one piece of infrastructure. It really does redefine what a base even is.
It does. I mean, when you step back and look at the whole picture, a 1.2 GW terrain-integrated stealth energy hub that manages its own drones, makes its own water, and converts power directly into hardened computing, you realize this just fundamentally changes the logistics of power and data in a contested environment.
The entire risk calculation just drops.
It does. And this really raises a critical question that you should think about long after we're done here. If this kind of sophisticated, self-sustained infrastructure can be deployed anywhere on the planet and made virtually invisible, what are the implications for national boundaries? For sovereignty? What does a forward base even mean when projecting power no longer requires a large, visible, vulnerable footprint? That's the strategic shift this forces us all to confront.